So, as you know, I've just come back from Paper World 2024, Creative World, and I picked up an absolute ton of really wonderful products. So I'm going to be using my PAScribe lining template. So for those of you who have the lining template, just remember, scan the QR code because there are 48 videos to teach you how to use the template, as there's so much that's possible with it. I've just used it by turning it to the 55 so that I can rule up my 55-degree lines. I'm using the PAScribe Rhodia black pad and the PAScribe Rhodia grey pad. And I will be using a light colored pad as well, just to show you how the black and gray Tombows work. So we're going to focus on these pastel colors. So you can see here it says brush pen Fudenosuke pastel for black paper. So obviously it will work really well on the black pad. And it will obviously work on the gray pad. But I'm also going to look at the Tombow Fudenosuke Trilogy, which has a soft tip black and a hard black and a hard gray tip. Now, so of course I walked onto the Tombow stand and I saw these colors and I thought, oh, look how lovely. Yeah, the girls would love this. The pastels are really beautiful. My main idea was for the white, but then I had a play with them and wow, the colors really pop on the black and the gray. So I've already written this out on the black, and here is it on the gray. So I just need to talk to you a little bit more about how the pens actually work. Let's move those. Now, we'll look at it on the black first. Let's grab the white. So there's some things that you have to be aware of when you're using these pens. You can really see the colors there. Let me see if I can really show you how solid they are. They are really this solid. Now, when you write, what you get is you get this wet line. And it slowly starts to dry out and become this much lighter line. Now, of course, the great thing about the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pens is they work really small. And of course, on my black and gray pad, the lines are 6mm. I really wouldn't push it to a 12mm because I kind of feel that's pushing the tip a little too much. And I really enjoy writing with these. I mean, if you decide that you're doing a 3:1, that's a 3:1 ratio, and it works really well at 6, 6, and 6. What you really have to be conscious of, I'm going to use the lavender because I just think the lavender is so fun. I mean, the pink's brilliant, but I kind of prefer the lavender. What you have to be really conscious of is not writing too quickly. So I use these Fudenosukes when I'm teaching my my brush Spencerian. And I found that if you don't sort of, if you move too quickly across the surface and you don't sort of take your time, you don't get enough pigment deposition, which then starts to become that the color of the tool that you're working with. So just be a little bit careful with that. Obviously, you can see this on the black. It's really lovely on the black. That's the white. I also have lots of, still sniffling from the cold of Frankfurt and lots of people coughing. That's the white. That's the pink. Let me see if I can get that. That's the pink there. So in the image, in the camera, it looks a little bit chalkier than it actually is. It's quite pink on the black. There's your yellow. There's the green. This actually looks very much like the green color. And that's the blue and the lavender. So be a little bit conscious of the speed at which you're moving. So as you can see, that's broken up a little bit there, but I really took my time on these and I allowed the deposition to really interplay with the page. Now let's look at the Trilogy set. So I'm going to use the Grey Pad. Now the sets are slightly different to each other, so just be careful with how you open them, especially if you like to keep things in their packaging. So let's get that out. So for these, I would pull the base open first, and I would just pull them out of their housing. Now, the soft tip is really soft. So this is the soft tip. And the great thing about the soft tip is it works really well at 12 mil. So I'm going to just dot in that 12 mil. And I'm going to write at a 12 mil xheight. So really sort of playing with the tool and working on pressing on the tip. Now, I can get this to write at 18 mil if I wanted, but I really feel that that would be just pushing the tip too much and it would cause damage to the tip. So I think for the soft, generally sort of your maximum height, xheight should really be 12 mil. I would probably stay between 10 and 12 rather than going above 12. And then this is the hard tip. So this again is the black, but in the hard tip. And you can push this to write at 12, but you'd get a really narrow letter. I really wouldn't push this above an xheight of 6. Now, as you can see, I'm not really pressing. So you can see how fine that is compared to the top one. Now let's just take that lavender brush pen again. And we have that at 12, that at 6. And let's do this at 6. And so we see what are these? Sorry. We see the chalk, the pastel ones they're also soft tip like this first one. So they work quite large. They work at an X height of 12 mil. Obviously they can work at an X height of 6 mil. You just have to be careful not to press too hard on them. Otherwise you lose that thick to thin stroke contrast at 6 mil. Oh, I love this lavender. So you can see I'm working lighter so that wow, they're so fine. I forget how fine these are. My goodness, this is brilliant. Right, let's try the gray. So that's the gray there. Of course, if we do it on the gray pad, you'll end up with a gray on gray. And that's quite nice. It's like a wettish color on top of that. So let's look at it on some white paper. Of course, I'm doing something that I always tell people not to do, which is don't write without lines. And this gray is a hard tip. So again, you really don't want to go above 6 mil. So this is a little bit bigger than 6 mil. But really, you want to steer on this. So obviously on the white paper, it works quite well. Now, I've only just gotten these, so I'm just testing them. I'm just playing with them. Let's see what happens when we use it on white paper. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. So obviously you know what these colors are. You can go back in the video and look through them. So that's the lavender. Let's try the pink. I don't know if the yellow will show up, but let's try it. So the yellow does show up. You just need to catch it to the right light. And let's try the green and the blue. So the colors work really well. I'm really excited about them. I'm really thrilled with them. Let's have a look at those again. So again, that's the black. That's on the black paper. And you can see that you can see that sort of coming up. But it's quite nice, the fineness. A little bit more pressure gives you a little bit more deposition. And of course, those are the colors on the black paper. That's the color on the gray PAScribe pad. Oh, there's the pink. You see the pink really showing up at an angle now, because of course I have lots of lights around. I love the soft tip because you can do it, you can write at 12 mil. But for me, I think the hard tip is the one that I prefer because I tend to work smaller than I do larger. I actually like the gray on the gray paper. And then of course, this is the gray on white paper, which is a really lovely kind of Payne's gray. And then those are the pastel colors on white paper. I mean, you can't see this, but the yellow does show up more than I can see. It's in the screen. The lavender's great, the pink's great, the green and the blue are equally wonderful on the gray, on the white paper. So thanks very much. I will be going through lots of other products because there's so many products to go through, and of course testing them and showing you how they work I think is really important so that you understand how to apply them in your own practice.